I'm Victoria and this is What Victoria Read. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I am unhauling. So if you've been watching me for a while, you'll know I do regular unhauls. The last one I did was just before Christmas, and I am sat here surrounded by 40 books that are leaving my collection. I unhaul as I go, so at the end of each month when I take apart my read stack for that month, one of a few things happens. So either it goes straight into my permanent collection, or it gets lent to my mother-in-law if I think it's a book that she might like, or it goes straight into the unhaul pile. So I only ever keep books that I've given 4 or 5 stars to and that I intend to reread. So loads of the books here are books I enjoyed and loved. I'm just not going to go back to them. So I feel like it's better for them to go out into the world where another reader can discover them and they can have another life rather than just sitting on my shelf and rotting. And also I only have a finite amount of space for books, so I have to be quite ruthless with getting rid of things. So, usual disclaimer before I get into this, if you have gifted me any of these books, thank you so very much. Just because I'm not keeping the book doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy it or that I didn't appreciate your very, very kind gift. I really do. Anytime anyone sends me anything, I am supremely grateful that you have gone to that trouble and spent your money to send something to me. It is never expected, and it's always wonderful. So, thank you if you've sent me any of these. It doesn't mean didn't like the book, that I don't like you. It's just not one that's going to stay in my collection. The other thing that does happen to quite a few of my books, and you'll see in a second as we start going through them, if they are YA or middle grade, they will go into my library in my classroom, and I'm an English teacher, and any arcs that some of my book to net friends don't want will go into the staff room for the staff to read. So they definitely, you know, find good homes, and then all the others I will take to my local. We've got a book barn that is near where I live, so it will go there and be donated there for somebody else to find and hopefully enjoy. So we've got 40 books. I'm going to go quite quickly because otherwise this video will be really long. We've got a couple of middle grade, a couple of YA, and the bulk of it is adult. So I'm just going to whip through them fairly quickly. They're all books that if you've been watching my videos, you've already seen me read and you know what my opinions are, but I just want to show you what's going, because I think it's important to talk about unhauling and clearing books out that you're not keeping. So first one is Between Sky and Sea by Nicola Penfold. I really enjoyed this one. I'm trying not to get into wrap up mode, but I just can't see myself going back to it, and I know that I've got a couple of kids in my year 7 group in particular that will really enjoy it, and look how shiny it is. So that one is definitely going into my school classroom. And another one that is definitely going to be going to my school classroom because I've seen kids taking out copies from our main library is Rainbow Grey by Laura Ellen Anderson. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was fab, and I'm really looking forward to seeing some of my kids getting their hands on it. So that will be going into my classroom library. Then I've got a duology, which are 2 of the most beautiful books I've ever owned. And I can't keep them because I didn't love it. And that is the Song of Storms and Silence. Song of Race and Ruins duology. I'm not sure if there's an actual like official title for the duology, but it's a Song of Race and Ruin, and then they're so bulky. A Psalm of Storms and Silence, obviously both by Roseanne A. Brown. I loved the first one, and then the second one just fell slightly flat for me, but she is, and I said this in my wrap-up review, she's definitely an author I will be keeping an eye out for, and just they're so beautiful. So yes, I'm sure these will find a good home somewhere else for other people to read them. Then we've got Opium and Absinthe by Lydia Kang. I tried to read this a couple of times, but it was too much like other things I've read, but not quite written as well, in my opinion. So yeah, this one I tried to read but didn't quite manage, and it's historical fiction based in New York City in 1899. Then we've got another book I DNF'd. This was The Woods Always Watching by Stephanie Perkins. This was sent to me by Book Break in exchange for an honest review, as were several of these books, and it's really short and I got bored about 50 pages in, so I DNF'd that one, and I'm sure somebody else will find it and enjoy it. Then we've got 2 of the 3 books from the, I can't remember what the series is called, Winter Night trilogy, which starts with The Bear and the Nightingale, then it's The Girl in the Tower, and then Winter of the Witch. And the only reason I'm unhauling these is, firstly, my copy of the first book is still with my friend Steph. She's had it for literal years. Steph, if you happen to be watching this video, read it. You'll really enjoy it. So I haven't got the complete trilogy, and also it frustrates me when publishers do this and make one of the books not the same size. Isn't the only reason I'm getting rid of these, but I just also realised recently that my reading taste had changed, and whilst I really enjoyed this series, my favourite was The Girl in the Tower, the second one. I just can't see me going back to these, and if I did, I think it'd be fairly easy for me to pick up second-hand copies. So these are going out into the world, and those are all the YA. So we're going to get into adult now. I'm just going to make space on this side so I can start stacking books up. The Beauty of Your Face by Sahir Mustafa. I thought this was incredible, but again, not going to reread it. Then I got two from Sarah Moss, and I thoroughly enjoyed both. We've got Cold Earth and then The Fell. This, as you can see, is an art copy that I was sent by Book Break. I really enjoyed both of these. Sarah Moss is a beautiful, beautiful writer, but I feel like she's not one that I'm ever likely to reread, so those are going. This might surprise some people. I'm unhauling The Appeal by Janice Hallett. Nobody panic, it's only because this is the paperback, which is lovely, but I have the beautiful naked hardback edition from Waterstones up there, and I do not need duplicate copies of books, so that's going. Then we've got Quality Land by Mark Yue Kling. There was a whole odyssey of me getting this book and then reading it. I was massively appreciative when it was sent to me, originally in German, which is my fault, but you have to go back and watch the videos to see more about that. I thought this was really clever, however, it didn't quite deliver in the way that I wanted it to, and again, I'm not going to reread it again. I've got The Switch by Beth O'Leary. This is a book that I really enjoyed, but again, Beth O'Leary is a writer that I do enjoy her books when I read them. I just can't see me going back to them, so that's going. We then have Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. This was one of my most disappointing books of last year, and I am well aware that that is an unpopular opinion. Most people who have read this have loved it. I adored the other one. What is it called? The House in the Cerulean Sea. Thank you very much for the sticker on the front. Adored that book. That is in my permanent collection. This one, I read 100 pages, got bored, DNF'd, so that's going. I've then got an arc for The Cat in the City by Nick Bradley. This is a collection of short stories that I do not see enough people talking about it on the Booktonet. I adored this collection when I read it a couple of years ago now. As you can see, this is a proof. That's what the final copy looks like. And it's definitely a book that I want in my collection, but I've just got this weird thing about keeping arcs and like unfinished copies. At some point, I will buy a finished copy of the book, but this arc can be read by somebody else. One of my most disliked books of last year, Death Comes to Pemberley by P.D. James. I had some opinions on this, mostly that it was dull and I didn't understand why it had been written. So I bought this at the book barn, and that is where we're going back to. The Ophelia Girls by Jane Healey. I loved this book, loved it. Again, it's an art copy from Book Break, and at some point I want to get a finished copy because I just thoroughly enjoyed it. On the front it says, a hidden past, a secret present, one life-changing summer. And one thing, because I've read another book from Jane Healey, which is The Animals of Lockwood Manor, one thing she does really well, she's incredible at creating a really strong setting and a really strong sense of time, like a place in time, and I just adored this so much. I much preferred it to her first book, which was The Animals of Lockwood Manor, which I read second. This was my first book I read by her. I much preferred this, and I'm really excited to see what else she comes out with, but I don't keep arcs in my permanent collection, so at some point I will get a finished copy and this can go into the world. A book I read last month, We Had to Remove This Post by Hannah Berwitz. Again, this is an arc from Book Break. This is a very weird little book. I didn't love it, and I'm kind of intrigued to make my colleagues read it and see what they think. Then we've got If I Had Your Face by Frances Cha. I bought this with Charlotte when we were in Oxford last year, and then we buddy read it together. That's Charlotte from Desperately Seeking Charlotte. And I really liked it. It was odd. It wasn't quite what I was expecting. And again, I'm not going to reread. Then we have The Unit by Nini Holmqvist, I think. This I saw on Kat from Brews and Reviews channel, and then Shannon from 155 Books really kindly sent it to me for my birthday. Thank you to both of you, both for the recommendation and then sending it to me. This is dystopian, in which people, when they hit a certain age, are sent to the unit to be used in medical experiments so they can continue to be useful to society. I thought it was fascinating and a really interesting setup and premise. The ending just didn't quite work, and again, I'm not going to reread, but I think somebody else will find it and enjoy it. Then we've got His Only Wife by Peace Adzo Mehdi. This I thoroughly enjoyed when I read it. I think in the start of the year, February time maybe, can't remember. Thoroughly recommend this one, but I won't pick it up again. And look at this, and the lovely Chloe from Chloe Reads Books sent me this copy, and I'm going to pass it on to somebody else, and hopefully they will enjoy it as much as I did. And then a book that I read again at the start of the year and I didn't love was Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro, and I was really quite disappointed. It's one of those books, when I finished it I was like, yeah, that was okay, and I gave it 3 or 4 stars, and then the more I've thought about it, the more disappointed I am by it, because I was just quite bored through a lot of it. And he wrote Never Let Me Go, which is one of my favourite books of all time. So yeah, this one was a Christmas gift from my brother, and I feel a bit bad about getting rid of it because obviously it's quite an expensive hardback, but I don't have space for books that I am not going to read again. Okay, another book I DNF'd was Rabbits by Terry Miles. This was also sent to me by Book Break. I was really excited for this because it's about like this weird online game, and then people start dying in real life, and it's all about like secret codes and kind of like conspiracy theories, and I thought it was going to be really fast paced and exciting, and I got 150 pages in and nothing had happened, like literally nothing. So I DNF'd that one, but very cool cover. Then we've got another arc, A Marvellous Light by Freya Marske. I loved this. This was an unexpected, I love this book because it's not really my thing. It's kind of fantasy. It's sort of dark academia with magic. But I thoroughly enjoyed being part of the cover reveal for this with Book Break, and I'm really excited for the next book to come out. That's the finished copy on the back. So this has obviously been out for a while. This came out in November last year. Thoroughly recommend this. It's queer. It's the start, I think, of either a trilogy or a series, and yeah, I'm excited for like the next book. But again, it's a beautifully floppy arc, but I don't keep arcs on my shelves. I don't know why that is. Anybody else who gets sent arcs from publishers, do you keep them if you enjoyed the book, or do you feel like you need like a proper like finished copy? I don't know. Welcome to the inside of my brain. Okay. I am slightly losing my voice today, so apologies. Right, next book, another gorgeous cover, was The Lamplighters by Emma Stonex. I think this is probably one of the prettiest books I've ever owned, and I am a bit sad that I'm not keeping this one, but I enjoyed the premise and the setup. It is based on the true story of a lighthouse where 3 or 4 men vanished one day and were never seen again, and there was no sign of a struggle. The door was locked. They'd clearly just been getting ready for dinner because like the table was set and all that kind of stuff, and they were just never seen again. And it takes that premise and builds a story around it, which I enjoyed, but I didn't love it. And I think the end, I was a little bit irritated by the ending, but it's still gorgeous, and hopefully, as I said, someone will be very happy to get their hands on that. Another hardback, Triflers Need Not Apply by Camilla Bruce. This again is based on true story of a woman, oh my gosh, what was her name? Bella Sorensen, who was a female serial killer in the 1800s, I want to say, in America. Let's see if it's going to tell us. It starts in 1907, so not the 1800s, the 1900s. And as it says on the front, men shall inherit the earth unless she kills him first. And I was hoping for kind of Sweet Pea, like historical Sweet Pea vibes, and it just isn't that. It was a lot more literary fiction than I think the cover suggests. And I did enjoy it, but didn't love it. And yeah, I don't need to keep that. Okay. Next book is The Other Bennett Sister by Janice Hadlow. I really enjoyed this book, but this is a duplicate copy because the lovely Leanne from Literary Diversions asked me if I wanted her arc for it, and I said yes please, and then promptly forgot that she was sending it to me, saw this in Waterstones and thought, oh, I haven't read that yet, and bought it. And then literally the next day Leanne's parcel arrived, and I was like, I am an idiot. So I read the arc because we all know I crack spines. Did really enjoy it, but it didn't become a keeper, and so I don't need to keep this copy either. It's a very big book, and I just don't have space for it on my shelves. But I would recommend it. It's a retelling of Pride and Prejudice from the perspective of Mary Bennet, and then it carries on the story after the end of Pride and Prejudice. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was clever. It felt like Jane Austen's writing, which is some kind of witchcraft, but yeah, not keeping that one. Then we have a bit of non-fiction, Death Row by Michelle Lyons, The Final Minutes. This is about, what is her name? Michelle, I've literally just said it. What is wrong with me? Michelle's real life experience of being a witness to death row executions. And parts of this were really well written and really well done. You can obviously tell she's a writer. She's a journalist by trade. But it just didn't quite captivate me in the way I was hoping, and I wanted more information and more detail on the men that she was witnessing the deaths of, because I feel like that would have made me care more. So this is definitely interesting, and if it sounds at all intriguing, I would suggest you pick it up, although obviously check trigger warnings because there are lots, but yeah, not one that is staying on my shelves. Then I have another non-fiction. This was also sent to me by the publisher, and I always feel bad when I DNF books from publishers, but it happens. This is How to Think Like Shakespeare by Scott Newstock. This is how to basically take the lessons in Shakespeare and apply them to teaching, which obviously sounds like exactly my kind of thing, but I just found this book really dense and I didn't get past the first 50 or so pages. So that's going into the world for somebody else. I've also got classic Victorian and Edwardian ghost stories. This is a collection, as you would suggest, of ghost stories, and I bought this in Hay on Wye when I was with Steph last summer because I was going to be doing The Telltale Heart with my year 8s, and I was like, great, I can read it, kind of get immersed in it. Didn't pick it up in time. I've now taught it. I don't need this. I just can't see me picking it up, so that's going. Oop, nearly dropped it. I have also got A Year of Reading Aloud, 52 Poems to Learn and Love, and again, it's beautiful, such a beautiful cover. Again, I bought this in Hay on Wye, and I've tried, and I just can't really get into it. I never reach for it, and it's kind of just taking up space. So hopefully somebody else will enjoy finding that beautiful book. Got another ARC. This is Hare House by Sally Hinchcliffe. This is a kind of modern Gothic story. Again, this is from Book Break. This came out in January this year. I didn't love this book. And again, it's one of those, the more I think about it, the less I liked it. So yes, this is going into the staff room. Then we've got The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. This is kind of a Jane Eyre retelling. I thought it was quite clever. It says on the front, you never know what secrets are hiding behind closed doors. And yeah, it was fun. That's kind of all I've got to say about that one. Then we've got Toffee by Sarah Crossan. This was my second Sarah Crossan. The first one that I read was We Are the Beehive. Here is the Beehive. Something about bees and hives. Something about that. This is written in verse. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This is about a young girl who runs away from home, hides in the shed of an old lady's garden, and they become friends. And I thought this was brilliant, but it's not one that I need to pick up again. And yes, this can definitely go into the world. Beautiful, beautiful cover. And it's reminded me that I need to pick up more Sarah Crossan because I've really enjoyed both books that I've read from her. We're into the last 5, so we are getting there. Next is Every Day in December by Kitty Wilson. Charlotte made me read this, literally. We did a book swap at the end of last year, and I said that I would read whichever book she liked if she read The Pull of the Stars by Emma Donoghue, which she did. So I dutifully read Every Day in December, which is a romance. 2 people, 1 month to fall in love. It's set between Bath and Bristol, which is where I live. It was cute. I think I gave it 4 stars, but I think I said in my December wrap-up vlog that I would reread it. I'm just not going to, and it's kind of sat on my shelves taking up space, and I was like, somebody else will enjoy this more than me. Okay, next book is What Lies Between Us by John Mars. This was really clever. I spotted the twist a mile off, but I still enjoyed it. He also wrote The One. I didn't enjoy it as much as that one. This is one of those weirdly heavy bind-ups. I don't know what they do in the spine to make it so heavy, but you could probably take someone out with this. But yeah, this was clever. You've got 2 women living in a house together. They have dinner together every night, and then every night once they've had dinner, one of them helps the other one up the stairs and chains her to the bed. And you're basically finding out how they got into that situation, why they're there, what's going on. Thought it was good, would recommend, but I'm not going to go back to it. Bird Box by Josh Malerman. This is one that I buddy read with Chloe at the end of last year, start of this year. It must be start of this year to be in this unhaul. This I really liked. This is in a world where something is outside, and if you see it, you go mad, you kill the people around you, and then you kill yourself. And we are 5 years into the situation, and we've got this woman who has got 2 small children that she's trying to get to a place of safety whilst being blindfolded the whole time. I thought this was great, and it has a lot to say. I can't remember when this was written. It was a few years ago now. Sorry, it says, I've just realised on the front, it says, this book was donated to the Honesty Library at Western Favell Shopping Centre, which is interesting. I think I got this from Book One. So this was released in 2014, and actually reading it in a COVID world, there was a lot of similarities in the way that people behave when things go wrong, and I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, I don't need to read that again. Last two, the second to last one is The Manning Tree Witches by A.K. Blakemore, another gorgeous, gorgeous cover. I bought this in Oxford with Charlotte, and I was quite bored through quite a lot of this book. I think I still gave it 3 or 4 stars, but again, like, as I'm thinking about it now, I just remember being a bit bored, but hopefully someone else will enjoy it. And then the last book might come as a bit of a shock and a surprise, because the final book that I'm unhauling is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Don't panic, it's because this is a weird American edition and it's too tall for my shelves, and I have bought myself an edition. Where are you, Evelyn? Somewhere here. There we are. I've bought myself this edition which fits on my shelves and doesn't have the weird like flappy front thing. I really hate this. So I don't need 2 copies. So that's why this one's going. Nobody panic. I'm not actually unhauling Evelyn Hugo. Although I did drop it down from a 5 to a 4 star on reread. But there we go. Anyway, those are the books that are leaving my collection at this point in time. As I said, I think it's really healthy to unhaul and declutter and only have books that I am really excited to go back to on my shelves. These will all be going, as I said, either into my classroom library, to friends, or to my local book barn so that other people can enjoy them. Please let me know in the comments, do you unhaul or do you keep every single book that you read? I'm always interested to see how people manage their book collections. If you've made it to this point in the video, leave me the book stack emoji, because there is now a giant stack of books to my left. Please subscribe if you would like more of this chaos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks everyone. Bye.